All right, everybody, welcome back to round 8 of the SCS Open Qual. We have an interesting, what am I saying? Interesting. We have a hell of a matchup. I don't want to undersell it by any means. We have Arial Arise versus Honor Esports, one that I'm very much looking forward to. I'm still Lynx, still joined by CDAPS. And CDAPS, now that we are in round 8, things have changed, standings have altered a bit. What's it looking like now? What are we looking at?
You know, you got Wichita Wolves versus Project Neo. That's Project Neo essentially clinched. They hit the magic number 7 games in a row. So, you know, they're just sitting back, they're coasting, they're chilling. A couple of the other teams are kind of in limbo stage to still. There's a bunch of really good games coming up. I actually just have a little bit of words from my headset that the match will be consulate of Arial Arise versus Honor. You know, that's a map that the Arial Arise are definitely known for, and Honor Esports are very good as well. So I'm sure we're going to have an absolute barn burner. But speaking of those and games of the like, there's a couple of other games on our parallel streams as well. On SFCL, we've got Gatekeepers versus Mad Squared. So a really good game right there. Both of those teams still fighting. I believe whoever wins out of that will essentially punch their ticket. And I think Mad Square is a little bit on the side of in that awkward spot. If they lose another game, then they're definitely not looking good. And I think it's a similar vein for Gatekeepers. And then on 9-Ball Esports, we have Didn't Ask versus the team that we just witnessed, Survey Corps, who are still definitely alive, and so are Didn't Ask. Both of them still fighting for their spot, and definitely going to be a hotly contested game nonetheless.
Yeah, but going to this matchup, as CDAP said, Arial Arise versus Honor Esports, it's going to be on consulate. Now, keep in mind, this is not the same Arial Arise that we are used to. The team that won RSA and the team that won CCS is a good different team, or a fairly different team overall. We will be getting into the game, I believe, right now, or either way, I'm just intrigued to see how this will pan out, because again, this is a very different Arial Arise overall to what we have seen previously. With the addition of Woods and Og, they haven't looked as strong previously. I mean, CDAPS, do you think they still have the chance to make this work?
You know, it's going to be difficult because Honor is it's a very, very strong team. You know, it's a very, very strong team. Sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulties here and there. I didn't quite know what was happening. I got scared too. I thought I wasn't sending my audio, but I think it's our game audio coming through. But with that being said, first ban, very simple, very, very standard because of the recent changes to Habana. She's kind of busted right now. She's in a very, very strong place. So she gets banned a lot as a result, being pretty much the best hard breacher on a map that ranged hard breach is necessary for every single attack. Definitely makes a lot of sense to get her off the board in a similar vein to the Nomad, which does indicate to me that Honor wants to play aggressive. Nomad's an operator that, especially on consulate, this is arguably her strongest map because of the prevalence of the implementation of something such as a run out or late flanks or anything of the like, and supplemented in with a Valkyrie ban. It's kind of the similar vein to if you ban Thatcher and don't ban Cade. If you banned a Nomad and left Valkyrie up, you're just kind of asking to get spawn peeked and jumped out on continuously.
Yeah, and usually when it comes down to consulate, one team is going to be the one to ban the Nomad and the Valk. You almost have to decide and get the feel for it. If you see the first team ban Nomad, then hey, you're probably good to ban another op, but somebody's got to take the plunge and ban those two operators usually. And Pulse being the second ban, not something we often see, but that isn't to say that, you know, this is a bad ban by any means. Pulse can be a very strong operator on consulate, especially on that split site where he is almost a necessary pick. So taking him off the board could fundamentally change how certain teams play the bomb site. But an interesting thing to note, as you can see on your screen, Arial Arise, Banned Pulse are now going to Archives and Tellers. Pulse is not an operator that Arial often bring on their defenses because they are much more extended in their hold, and not just going up to the first floor, but holding the second as well. Pulse not at all in their lineups usually. So getting rid of that operator is like taking away the crutch operator for a lot of teams on this bomb site. So that is a really, really good ban for Arial and could be a game changer in this matchup alone.
Yeah, because they're one of the very few teams that don't need the Pulse in order to play Split. So naturally, they'll just play Split without it and make it so nobody else except them can be as strong on the Split bomb site. Some see it as a tertiary bomb site, but for Arial Arise, their win percentages say otherwise. It's very, very high, and you can see for good reason. They have a really great understanding of how teams are going to attack this bomb site. Mainly for Honor, they're going to be trying to plant on the first floor. You don't really delve down inside the basement, and that's where things such as Nitro Cells for Arial Rise's defenses really start to shine. But without a pulse, a lot of teams they don't know where to put the Nitro Cells. You don't have the hard confirmation because there's so many different default plant sites inside of Tellers that you don't know exactly where they are. And then you have Arial Rise is like, huh, we don't have a pulse. Let's just bring a Maestro. Let's put Maestro cams. We can just sit there, and by the time they actually get to site, because of the extensive roam that we're going to employ all over the map, they're not going to have enough time to burn that. They're not going to have enough utility, and it's going to be insanely difficult to break them out. And now we see as well, Afer already ripped up a C4. He took a little bit of a page out of Gunner's book that he loves that Nitro Cell, and it's going to be the Mozzie of Afer doing it instead. As soon as somebody repels up on the side of admin, they're probably going to die and explode.
Yeah, I was going to mention Afer playing that position. Gunner stepped back on Arial Arise to focus on, real life commitments, working on school, things like that. So this Arial Arise, the only two original members are Dami and Whitlock from that original 5 roster. All of those positions have been kept the same. For example, Afer on Mozzie on that, holding that C4. But now that they know that the take is coming from that console side of the map, they've rotated off, not nearly focusing as much on Visa. They're watching over on that side, over on the rappel and bathroom in those areas to make sure nobody comes in. Honor brought a Jackal as well. You already saw a feed scan come out, spotted one member. 2 have been used so far, but they haven't really found much in the way of impact on the side of Honor so far. They have a fair bit of map control, and now they're rotating down to Garage to potentially go for a horizontal flank instead of a vertical one, but overall, they haven't really accomplished much of anything, and not taking out that roam could be extremely risky if they are right.
Yeah, especially because Nomad is off the board. That opens up all of the flanking potential that you could possibly invite upon yourself. They are starting to pressure a little bit on the downstairs side. Surf, just kind of creeping his way up inside the bomb site that you would expect to see on the basement. But instead, it's on the complete other side of the map. The split bomb site, once again, is just a really interesting kind of enigma in the entire grand scheme of Siege. It's the only bomb site on 2 different floors, and therefore your attacks have to get a little bit more complex, as well as your defenses. For Honor, they're kind of knocking on the door. They're ready to go, but it's actually going to be Afer on the other side dropping down Pox.
And there you go. That roam that was not taken care of has found a big impact. Not just a kill onto the Thermite, and sure, hard breaching is that useful, but that's Diffuser dropped right at bottom Spiral, and Oreo, who's in the prime position to take it alongside Surf. And Angle's being held on both sides. One falls, the C4 flies out as well. Doesn't find much, but it's the bullets of Whitlock to find that kill. Now Arrow and Wolfseas are left in a 2v5, and if you're walking down Spiral un-ADS'd, that's the easiest kill of Aug's life. He just sat in that corner holding the angle, and there wasn't much really anybody could do to stop him from getting it. Now Arrow, 1v5, trapped outside Visa. He looks away at the wrong time. I was about to say not much he can do, but even then, Dami took the words right out of my mouth. And if you weren't confident in Arial Arise's hold, hope that proved you wrong. That's why they're so good at it.
Yeah, and that's why that hold is literally called the Arial Arise hold, and it has gone all the way from T3 and adopted by T2 and T1 teams. I expect that we're gonna see just a couple of things coming out. It'll be definitely interesting to see coming up whenever Invite is postponed, to see if Consulate comes up, and maybe we'll see Arial Arise hold on the grand stage. But it's one of those things that we don't quite know, and all we know is that now Arial Arise does have the lead on a arguably more attacker-sided map. They're starting off strong, and once again, we'll see Arial Arise love the Kaid. Unfortunately, it's not Max anymore. Gone but not forgotten. May he rest in peace. May he rest in peace. He will be missed. But it's going to be Dami, the main man who loves Pepsi so much it's actually comprises 70% of his blood. I don't know if that's healthy, but it lets him frag, so maybe get a sponsorship out of that.
Perhaps, but we can see a bit of a different strategy coming out from Arial. I mean, you saw in Split, they were extended all across the entire map, whereas this time they are primarily made from batting down the hatches and holding everything down. Whitlock on the Mira, gonna be a big one, holding those Black Mirrors, not bringing a Maestro, who's another big operator on basement, but with the way they have things set up, playing behind those Black Mirrors, they serve somewhat of a similar function. You don't get as up close and personal info as you might like. As you can see, especially with that mirror inside of dining, you still have opportunity to try and throw C4s and deny the plant behind white van, excuse me. And it might be a bit awkward, but as well, with Honor only running a Thermite and Hibana being taken off the board, they don't have a lot of avenues to deal with those mirrors, save for soft destruction up above. And if Arial Arise do choose to try and go for a late flank, we've already shown that Honor haven't been the most capable of dealing with offsite pressure, and there is one running around upstairs. I would assume it's Og on the Jaeger. If they fail to take it down once again, those mirrors might be solid for quite a long time, but Og, he's running for his life right now with that Jackal ping.
Yeah, there's nothing more terrifying than being on your deep roam and thinking you're sneaky, then all of a sudden you say, you are being tracked, and then all of a sudden an entire attacking team pinches you like SEAL Team 6, and it's not fun. Og has made his way down yellow stairs, just staying alive, doing his best, as Whitlock also has the potential for flank as he's making his way up the backside stairs. There is a little bit of topside pressure coming from Honor. They're breaking some hatches on the backside, as well as going in on the top floor towards an admin side push. They're going to be challenging Og. He's the first sort of obstacle they have to go for, and it's going to be an obstacle that falls nonetheless. Arrow picking up a beautiful first frag and taking the advantage, swinging into Honor's favor.
Yeah, Og's an extremely good player, and even then, that could have gone well, but with how it was set up, Og wasn't exactly in a prime position with operators coming from above and below, and, well, holding an angle online isn't always going to go your favor just based on how the connection is set up. It was going to be a tough fight for him to win, and unfortunately, didn't come out on top. Dami was on top, Spiral also taking a bit of an aggressive position, but he's rotated back now. Minute 30 has passed. He knows he doesn't have to get too crazy with it, but Whitlock, he put a C4 down below. Knows that Arrow is going for that soft destruction, and wide as I was about to upplay its importance, it gets blown up and doesn't find anything. Arrow is on 75 HP, so that's cool, but you've used one of your two C4s. Now the only one left is Dami, and he's also been showing to get a bit aggressive. And playing below these vertical holes made by Arrow is risky, even with, and especially with, a C4 in hand. And now with Surf on the entry, coming into yellow stairs, this is starting to get a bit precarious. Their main line of defense right now is that deployable shield on pipes and those mirror windows inside of office. I say that right as Afer pushes the line just a little bit and takes the head off Surf, evens it to a 4v4.
He's going to keep on going. He doesn't know how to stop, as Arrow will also fall from the vertical holes that he himself employed. A Wisecaster once said that holes go both ways, but now it's the backside pressure that Oreo is going to be bringing as he's going to pick up Dami, but it's going to be a refrag nonetheless, as Woods will separate him and shut him down. It's a 3v2 situation, only 20 seconds left on the clock, and the first Toxic Babe canisters start ringing out. Wolf sees both grenades being eaten away by the ADSs, and it's not looking too good for Honor. Pox has the position to go for the plant, but he doesn't necessarily have coverage. Wolfsy is just locked over on yellow stairs. He's gonna get refragged after he gets one. They may adjust up to Pox in a 1v2, but he gets the diffuser down, but all for naught. Woods will swing out, get his double kill, pick up a free kill, as well as the defuse, and take back-to-back rounds for Arial Arise.
Once Afer managed to equalize it, that round looked much strongly in the favor of Arial. I mean, at that point, the kill onto Arrow from down below was just icing on the cake. They had regained the momentum and stopped the push of Honor in their tracks pretty easily. And overall, for the first half of that round, it was looking pretty good for Honor, I will say. They managed to nail down Og, not the hardest thing on the planet because he's a solo roaming Jaeger with no utility dedicated to him. As long as you set up a pinch and you don't peak, peak one by one, 15 seconds away from each other, you're probably going to come away with that, and that's exactly what happened. But once it actually required taking what you had gained, the map control, the roam clear, vertical holes created by Arrow, Honor weren't able to maneuver it into much of an execute, and especially letting Afer get that close up on the wall. I mean, he was playing by pipes. That is an angle that could have been watched by Arrow, but instead he was either making holes somewhere else or just wasn't devoting his attention to it at that time. So you let a defender cross a pretty common angle you should be watching, but we can forgive him for that. He was probably doing other important things. And at that point, Honor didn't really know what to do besides telling Pox to go in and get the plant. Mirror windows, both of them were still up. And those are the two biggest factors that the defense has if the mirror is in play. Since those aren't destroyed, you can just sit behind them and pre-fire those C4s whatever you want. Sure, they didn't rely on it that much, but still, that just goes to show when it came to down to that final minute, 45, 30 seconds, Honor didn't really know what to do besides, try to get the plant down.
I mean, you said it. You said it perfectly. Afer won that round. When he got the kill on yellow and then he hit the absolute banger of a shot onto Arrow, it was just kind of a dead round. There wasn't really anything that Honor could do. It was close, but again, no cigar, and they're going to have to bounce back on this new bomb site of Lobby Press. Once again, we're going to see very similar veins to Arial Arise's defense that, surprise, surprise, they have people playing off-site. This time a little bit more of a roam-heavy lineup as you're going to allocate a lot more resources upstairs. But Pox is going to break it down nonetheless. Perplexing angle being held by Og. You know, you don't really want to stand in front of a window, and I think it gives a free one here. And I guess they're just, Arial Arise wants to feed Honor. They're just going to gobble all those kills straight up. As soon as you give them an opening, this is a strong team in the form of Honor Esports, and they're going to take advantage and make you pay for your mistakes.
Yeah, and that's kind of a problem indicative, not with lobby pressing, but more so with the second floor of that map. There's so many windows you can rappel on and so many rough spots that you're forced to plan on the defense that even one wrong move, you can get taken down. But then again, that was mostly them walking into angles. Thankfully, Pox walks into the crosshairs of Whitlock, manages to bring a kill back in their favor, but still strongly. Honor taking out the roam clear, once again, pretty strongly. There is still Woods up above, I say that, and Woods is a factor unto himself. He can change the tide of a round on smoke, no less. So him being in play is still a pretty big factor that Honor will have to contend with. But still, that is what Honor managed to do last time. Take out the majority, if not all of the roam clear, and it was their site execute that they mainly struggled with. Now with Dami rotating back, Woods as well, all now on the bomb site. This is on them to turn this map control that they have gained into an actual execute. One frag grenade will be wasted by Oreo, but with one call in his pocket, could set up for an execute. And with what they have so far, and how less map control you need, and now with the kill onto Dami as well, I think Honor, they're in a much better position than they were last time, even with Arrow on the floor.
Yeah, Arrow's going to be picked up by the entry frag of, you know, as soon as I want to talk about something, I was going to say that the only person with HP left is Woods, and he really doesn't have a whole lot, and it's going to be a double run out feeding Oreo. And why? Why?
I mean,
he's yellow pinged. He's yellow pinged.
It's a 1v4 at that point. You know, he's like 25 HP. He's like, let's just get this over with.
But nonetheless, 2-1 lead for Arial Arise's side on a map that I would argue and say is probably a 3-3, maybe a 4-2 to the attacker kind of map. They're setting up for the potentially repeat what she just did in the first 3 rounds, and you're up 4-2 and definitely in the driver's seat where you're very comfortable pushing forward on attack, and their attacks typically look very strong. I'm very scared for Honor to have to deal with Dami on the Lion, because last time I casted him on Lion, he dropped like 15, and it was a lot. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of siege to be played on the defensive half for Arial Arise, and Honor have started to build a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, they have a little bit. I will say that, and now that they actually have shown that they can deal with a roam effectively, I think their chances of winning this are a lot higher, because the Arial Arise hold on split is heavily dealt with, or heavily contingent upon that roam success. In the very first round, they didn't even try to go for it. They opened Garage and just tried to push horizontally for what felt like the entire round. I'm sure there were some variations at the beginning, but all I can think about is them sitting either on top spiral, in main lobby, or in Garage for pretty much the entire round and just getting picked off one by one. But now they've shown to actually be able to deal with a bit of a roam clear. This is now the ultimate test as to whether they can transition that and fix the mistakes they made previously, because this roam isn't just, you know, Og running around in yellow by himself. This is a coordinated setup with tons of utility placed to make sure it succeeds. And if Honor can deal with this, I think we might see them storm back on their attacking rounds.
Yeah, the only way I've ever seen this sort of entire setup ever fall apart is pushing from CEO, but a lot of teams just don't do it. Unfortunately for Angelo Ferrari, aka Afer, you know, the patented Gunner C4 didn't quite land. It didn't even do a single HP of damage towards the repelling Pox, who now confirms the location of the lonesome Mozzie inside. Gets yellow pinged and dead. Free kill for Wolfseas. That's the power of good team coordination. A free kill and about half of the roamers down. They still have a little bit more to go towards. You know, you got the Malusi of Dami on the top of the backside Visa stairs, and I believe Whitlock is also somewhere, you know. He's on a roam. He's Whitlock. He's just doing wit things and trying his best. Yeah, he's actually right next to the window that he's just witnessed his teammate die from. So that's a little bit unfortunate. He couldn't swing out in time to try to get a refrag. But nonetheless, they're still on their roam burning time, and that really is the name of the game.
Yeah, Whitlock always sits on that little box right there, that filing cabinet, with an ADS or two just sitting, waiting for someone to either swing in or give themselves up to an easy angle. And Wolf sees at the moment is content not to swing him, just maybe a bit too hesitant for it or focused on other things. Dami as well still pushing his luck on those Visa stairs, but Whitlock sees the rappel. Might go for a jump out. It would certainly be risky, and he'd probably be killed by Surf, so probably best he just leaves that info to himself. A C4 tossed out by Dami, that's easily shot by Surf. You don't even have to be the most mechanically gifted player to take that one off the board. So now he'll just rotate back, more of a defeated man, and Whitlock is the only true guy left on this roam, or at least the initial positioning that was had inside of Visa. Dami's outside, and the longer he sits here, the more time he can waste, and he just completely gets taken off the board right as I say that. Aristotle takes his head off. Pox soon after onto Og, and Whitlock is left with Woods in a 5v2. Spot Surf does 50 HP worth of damage, but he's got attackers coming in from all sides. He's not able to land the shots in time. Woods left in a clutch situation. Once again, no C4 to do it with. Somehow has to retake split with a Vector. And on 25 HP, attackers on above him, in front of him, and below him, as he now finds out. It's not going to happen. A flawless round from Honor to answer Arial's initial flawless defense of this in that first round.
I mean, I guess you can't get as two-sided of a round on the same bomb site as you can from a flawless defense to a flawless attack. You know, Honor is looking a lot better, and I touched on it briefly that they started to build a little bit of momentum, and it looks like they definitely did. And now they're going to be able to go to another bomb site that was so incredibly close. It came to a 2v1, and pretty much the entire round hinged upon the heroics of Afer, which for Arial Arise, you cannot depend on. You cannot expect him to swing yellow and live to tell the tale, especially not when there's vertical pressure being employed by Arrow and he still manages to hit that shot. That's not going to happen twice. Lightning doesn't hit the same place twice. And it's a little bit worrying for Arial Arise, considering that their patented breakdown, their amazing split bomb site, just fell so hard.
Yeah, and one issue with that split hold is exactly the situation Aver found himself in. And I said this earlier, but the issue of Consulate top floor as a whole, there are so many windows that you can repel from all across, whether it's on the side of console or on the side of admin, that there are a lot of tough places to sit, and Afer just got caught out at the wrong moment. The timing wasn't in his favor. I have full confidence, knowing Afer as a player and Arial Arise being a coordinated team as a whole, that Afer was probably within a couple seconds going to rotate in a position he couldn't get peeked from, but he was mid-reload animation and just got swiftly dealt with. So it's not all bad news for Arial. It wasn't a complete failure, and they still wasted a fair bit of time on that top floor hold. It just so happens that they have been looking weaker, and that is enough to start casting doubt in the momentum and in the minds of certain teams. And with how quickly Honor managed to deal with the roam and acquire the map control last time, now with the added benefit that they have looked much more confident on their executes, this is looking like Honors have to lose.
Yeah, and especially because Honor are a Challenger League team. They know what they're doing. They're definitely showing why they deserve that tier 2 status, and trying to go against the T3 Titans that have been Arial Arise is looking to be in their favor just a touch. The experience speaking volumes. And for Og, he's definitely gonna have to step up on his roam, stay alive for a lot longer, try to evade all these drones and intel that Honor is gathering as they start setting up for their execute eventually. They already have step 1 done towards their side, you know, get the wall open. It's pretty easy when Arrow has swapped off of the Buck in lieu of a Thatcher. You know, you can just throw the EMP downs as opposed to having to really go up inside a piano and remove the Kaid claws that Dami threw up inside the ceiling. And now it's still looking a lot better. Afer is actually going to run out and catch somebody on drone. There goes Fox. Right. And your diffuser. Afer is just on the Wamai with the Og, just kind of crazy. He's built different. He understands exactly when to aggress, and as crazy as it might seem and sort of unruly and hard to predict, you know, it's calculated chaos, and I'm not going to take that away from it.
I guess if you're going to learn a lesson from that, don't go on rappel on drone alone when that wall is open. That's probably something I would take away from that. I mean, it's hard to predict that kind of behavior sometimes. Conventional wisdom dictates that not a good idea for Afer to have taken that gunfight, but given the situation, and there was literally no recourse for Pox in that moment from himself or from somebody else, I don't know. Clearly was not the right play in the long run. Afer also takes a bit of damage behind White Van. But only 25, he can rotate back. And this is where we saw Otter hit their stride last time. Getting that vertical control and starting to put pressure on the defense. But now that Afer has seemed a complete commitment to making those crazy plays a second time, I'm not nearly as confident as I was just 2 minutes ago. A C4 flies out as well, but it narrowly misses Wolfsies. Only does about 35 damage to him. Now that he's alive, he'll continue to open up those holes, and with 2 frag grenades in his pocket, still has a lot of impact. With 30 seconds left, Surf getting that opening pick onto Afer. The power player of the previous defense, this could be huge, but those 2 mirror windows are still in play. One will get popped, don't know exactly which one, but this could mean a much safer White Van plan for Oreo if he chooses to go for it in that same default spot. Getting it down, the smoke grenade will start to choke the life from him. The timing might be in his favor. It's going to be close, and it's not close enough. He gets taken down by Woods. Now, Ariel's got to recover the plant. Command advantage for Arial Arise. They have all the angles they want, but the angles might just be favoring them a bit more. He gets the plant down successfully, despite being taken down from below the White Van. Woods will start to bait it, wait for Wolfsies to fire some shots from above. He knows his position, but with 2 frag grenades in the hands of the Sledge, this is going to be a incredibly difficult fight for Woods to win. He either has to land the shot of his life, or Wolfsies has to fumble the bag harder than anyone has in quite a while, and he will! He lands it! He threads the needle through the metal bar, and he lands and makes the 1v1 clutch, and secures Arial Arise at the very least a 3v3. What the hell was that?
I'm stun locked. I got
What was that?
Afer, he said, watch this.
He literally had a I'ma make a play moment. He said, guys, watch this. And he did it.
That was one of the craziest rounds I've seen.
How the hell did he land that?
First off, how does he land that shot?
With the SMG-11.
Okay, I'm going to break down everything in that round. That was crazy. Afer sprints out of breach, unpunished. Pretty cool. They get the Jackal getting choked out by the toxic babe gas with, I think, 0.2 seconds left on the first plant. That was crazy too. And then they kill the planter who got it off on the other side by another 0.2 seconds. Both of the plants, the first and the second, matter of milliseconds. And then Woods left in a 1v1, hits an absolute heater of a shot, and then takes the round. Like, I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, I told you, Wolfsies not only had the vertical play, he had 2 frag grenades.
He fumbled. That was a butt fumble.
Arial Arise, they're not bringing Maestro. You don't have to worry about those Evil Eye cams being behind White Van, and that means that because of that, Wolfsies utility has much more freedom, not only to use in the round, but in the post plan as well. Instead, it was a bit of a tough position. You got to cook it, then angle yourself, and then throw it down, so I'm not going to blame him too much for it because it wasn't exactly favorable. But then again, you're taking that fight through the floor with an L85 8 and you're fighting Woods, God as he is, with an SMG-11 hollow, and Woods comes away with that. Call it luck, call it skill, whatever, but that was definitely a Wolfsies engagement, utility aside, and I wouldn't go... Actually,
he fell for the fake.
I hate saying that he fumbled it. I don't want to be mean, but all factors were pointing to Wolfsies winning that. That was a 90-10 gunfight, and the odds just weren't in his favor as much as we thought, I guess. He really is just built different.
I think to a certain extent, like we're saying that there was the fumbling, but the more that I think about it, I think Woods it wasn't necessarily that Wolfsies lost that engagement. I think Woods just won it. Yeah. Like he hit a 1 in a million shot. He threaded the needle and point. Just like as soon as he peeked, he hit first bullet. Like Wolfsies didn't have a chance. He just kind of leaned for a millisecond and just
was
beautiful shot.
Was like if you've seen that clip from Poge's Digest where
I know exactly what you're talking.
Pino is on, I think, smoke. It's either smoke or be one of the SMG-11 ops. He's running into oil pit, turns around as he's falling, and headshots Rampy like into lounge through like the frame of the in between the wall and the door frame, and Fultz just looks back and throws his hands up. That was one of those shots that Woods hits. That's one of those shots where you're just like, all right, man. Like
sometimes the game says no, but sometimes Woods says yes. Woods says yes.
Sometimes the game says no, and then as you said, sometimes Woods he makes his own luck.
Yeah.
And he can hit those shots. Still on a bit of a pause right now. Don't exactly know what's going on. Maybe just either tactical timeout or something. Either way, we'll be back in just a little bit. Not rehosting, so don't worry. It's not going to take like 5 minutes. Should just be a minute or two longer. But overall, Arial Arise have secured themselves a 3-3 half. That's about where you want to be on Consulate, or if you're there, it's no big deal. Going into their attacking half, the way they've been playing so far, they've showed enough times of being coordinated that I'm not too worried. Okay, well, I guess I'm not too worried about them attacking on Consulate. 1, because of their previous history with the map. 2, just how good and coordinated all 5 of these players can be. Sure, it's a new roster, but they're all some of the best in T3. I think there's a good chance to come away with it, but Honor going on to the defense, I don't know. That's a factor that I don't think we have a full handle for how impactful and how crazy that could be yet.
And we're back on in the game, you know. Oreo has returned to his computer, and we are locked in for the final round of the first half. For Arial Arise, if they get the 4-2 split on defense, I would say that they're definitely coasting, they're chilling, but for Honor, this is kind of a must-win situation. And they're going to be going on a bomb site that they're already pretty comfortable attacking. They really kind of obliterated Arial Arise's tertiary bomb site of Lobby Press, and they're going to be trying to go for a very similar side. Hopefully for Arial Arise that they just don't send 2 people outside of main door. That would make me very sad if they just get picked off by Oreo with a DMR just holding a doorway. I'd be sad. I'd be sad for them. I'd be sad on account of them, and I would be sad that players making the same mistake over and over again. Not quite on the level of a Crow mauled counter.
Yeah, it would certainly not be on the level of a Crow mauled counter moment.
Not quite on the same level, but you know, it'd be close. It would be close.
It would certainly be close. I think actually my clean feed is a bit ahead of the actual feed,
I'm like 20. I'm at 227 now.
By the way, we can look at it right now. Let's see what Whitlock reinforcing that hatch, so we do know something. But no, I think we're going back to faces. I figured we were. It was only a matter of time before that happened. So we're just having a bit of a quick restart with the clean feed just to get it all caught back up. Not sure what was happening there. Maybe Oreo leaving his computer just somehow caused a glitch in the system and a domino effect in the universe that now affected our stream. But either way, we've seen a little bit of the lineup coming out from all sides. On the side of Arial Arise, it's looking, we're back. I thought that might take a bit longer, but here we are. If you want to talk about the lineup, if you want to look at the lineup of Arial Arise, it's very similar to how they set up those split holds. Mira, Jaeger, Smoke, Mozzie, Wamai. Aside from a couple differences, that's pretty much the same, but this time it's on lobby. So a bit of a difference overall, but the Mozzie being the opening pick is a bit of a similarity I don't think Arial Arise were hoping for. Thankfully, Og will get a kill, who's been a bit sparse on the scoreboard overall so far. He'll manage to equalize and find Arrow on the buck, but Wolf Seizu's also been a potent fragger for his team, the top fragger so far. Gets revenge for his fallen comrade, and now Arial Arise in a familiar position to how they were last time. The Rome dealt away with, and the only ones left are on the bomb site in a bit of a precarious position.
You still have Afer upstairs over towards the long desk. He's the only one. He's the last survivor of the Rome, but now you have an anchor going down, and you have both of them. It's a whole flurry of frags going blue. In Honor, is this deja vu? Going strong again on a lobby press attack. Just killing everyone without ever entering the building.
So I mentioned earlier how if Pox had learned anything from the second basement attack, don't go on Repel and then on Drone once you've opened up Garage Breach. Arial Arise have seemingly learned, maybe a bit too late, have learned a bit of an important lesson, and that is lobby press room it was just not their bomb site this series. It wasn't by any metric, and as Connor mentioned, the stats and the metric and the amount that Honor won that round by indicates that perfectly. Like, it wasn't even close. No. It wasn't, a gunfight that went wrong here or there. It was all 5 gunfights didn't even happen. It was just 5 members of Honor shooting and Arial Arise barely shooting back. I mean, Og got a kill, but that's like the only improvement that Arial Arise really had over their previous lobby defense. Now they're on the attack. As I said earlier, it's a 3-3, and there's Dami on Lion. Connor, to go back to him again, talked earlier about how incredible Dami can be on this operator, and with how aggressive play is facilitated by bringing that Lion and by having Dami on the Lion as well. That's a big factor that Honor will have to deal with, but with them succeeding so strongly on attack and so strongly as well on lobby press room, in terms of their coordination going into the defense, Honor are looking much better going into the second half, despite how, despite Consulate being 50-50, maybe a little bit in the favor of the attacking team.
Yeah. I want to harp back to the exact situation onto why Dami on Lion is scary. The last time I saw Arial Arise play was last weekend at the NSG tournament. And Arial Arise was playing against Project Neo, a team that's currently 7-0 and just beat Honor just a couple of minutes ago and pretty much punched their ticket on the way to closed quals. Dami started off 12-0 on Lion. So yeah, there's that. First Lion scan coming out, and they're trying to just make sure that all these roamers have nowhere to go. Arial Arise, they're sort of known on their attacks to be highly aggressive in a calculated way, and they take map control very, very quickly. Having that supplemented in with the Lion, just making it so your roamers can't move and they become sitting ducks, is a little bit alarming for Honor's side. You know, they've been in these positions before. They know that, hey, they're going to try to probably nade me out. I have ADSs inside a bathroom if I'm Wolf C. You know, he's just kind of pinched and can't go anywhere. Eventually can drop the hatch if he so desires. But now he's being pushed from multiple directions. Afer pinching him out, but it's going to have to be the two players on yellow stairs to come to Wolf C's help.
Yeah, this can be a tough position, but with that shotgun, that's still an X factor that Honor can count on if Arial Arise take a couple engagements that they shouldn't. He also continued to just eat up drones and utility with those ADSs and mute devices right around the corner, but unfortunately, he's not watching his back. Didn't even require an EE1D. Afer just peeked in, and Wolfies, once again, being in a tough spot, wasn't able to come away with it. But Arrow up above, that is a strong angle he could use if he could just land his shots just a bit better. Whitlock will take a hell of a lot of damage, but coming away with his life is still huge. Yeah. This roam surviving up top could be huge in and of itself, though. I'm sorry, I had a bit of a gulp. You know, one of those moments
that's
where,
why I was gonna
you're
take
just
over.
talking and the saliva just like comes up,
builds
like,
up.
You just gotta straw it. Yeah, that's my bad. But either way, CDAPS. Does Arrow just swing and smoke Afer? What happens here?
I think Afer wins this. No, he doesn't. I'm completely wrong. Arrow's still going to come out on top. On the top of yellow stairs, and the roam game is still alive for Honor. Surf on a flank as well, but now Pox on site. He's going to fall down to Og, and it's a refrag, however, coming out of the gun of Oreo. Now the site pressure is being established. 2 players off site for Honor, and pretty much just Oreo left alive, but it doesn't even matter. Surf's going to go in. Arrow drops down Whitlock. However, Wood still has a little bit left in the tank. It's a 2v1 situation, but he only has about 20 HP to his name. There's still no Toxic Babe canisters, but not that much time left. He has the diffuser. He's going to be trying to put it down over towards Zebra. Just the sound cues are enough to start bringing all of the Honor eSports players swinging at any sort of compassion. But now he's just kind of running around, and he's eventually going to run right into the crosshair of Surf. That kind of threw me for a loop because I don't think Wood should have been alive for as long as he did, and I was floundering and planning for words. Just like he was trying to sort of do anything.
I was going to say, with how low HP Woods was when he got hit like a 5th and didn't die, I was like, that seems like that shouldn't happen, but whatever. We'll look past it. Either way, that wasn't the best attack from Arial. Wasn't the best situation. They did a solid job of nailing down Wolfseas. I mean, you know, opened up all the necessary walls. They managed to push in, and Afer caught him with his back turn. So good on ya. That was just one of the 3 operators on the roam, and beyond that, Arial Arise didn't seem to have an answer overall, or at least a broad sweeping answer for that roam. We even talked about it. We thought Afer was going to, or Connor at the very least, I did too also. We thought Afer was going to come away with that engagement versus Arrow, but he just swings down yellow, kills him, rotates back up, says, I'll waste as much time as I can, because at that point in the round, Arrow would have to make the decision. Do we send 1 or 2 guys up to try to deal with the roam, or do we just cut our losses and try to execute onto the bomb site? They went with the latter, and Woods was left in a 1v3 before they even really had a chance to get their bearings in the situation they found themselves in once they lost Afer. So, as a first attacking round, not the best trendsetter for Arial Arise overall for their potentials. That is basement. That is the site that you should be winning on the side of Consulate defense. So for all we know, Arial Arise could really have their lobby press room and their split attacks down. But as the first round to see from a team that is now down in round count and for a long time was extremely dominant on this map, not the best thing to see out the gate.
No, definitely not. I mean, basement so far, it's 3-0 in favor of the defenders, so, you know, you can't really fault them for losing it, but this is a bomb site that has not been won by the defenders of Arial Arise, and now Honor is trying to keep their undefeated streak on it as they switch to the defensive and maybe turn the tides on. So maybe Lobby's a good bomb site. Arial Arise, they're already doing a lot of window play, and that was the success of Honor, being able to just pick off all of the roamers of Arial Arise with relative ease. But for Honor, they seem to be a little bit more structured and cautious on their plays on their top floor roam. They're not quite swinging. They're playing passive, trying to waste out as much utility and time as possible, and waste away Afer, who just got absolutely decimated by Wolvesies.
Where was that even from? That okay.
I don't even know. I don't know, but he's gone.
So Wolvesies just came out of Visa, swung Spiral, and killed Afer all the way out by the gate. Okay, cool. That somehow happened. Thankfully, Arial Arise are equalizing at least a little bit. One on the floor, 2 fully in the grave. You do have also lost 2 members on the side of Arial Arise and Og on low HP, so it's effectively equal, but Arial almost loses that engagement versus Dami inside of console, but thankfully the Lion's still alive, and he can go and fight and take that engagement another day. Now with Og felling Pox, the Echo not able to be revived, this is truly and fully on Wolvesies to try to bring this back, mainly due to the low health count of Aristotle. That being said, he does have a C4. Both actually have a C4 in hand, so that could be huge, and almost wins that gunfight with the pistol, but Whitlock still manages to come away with it. Aristotle in a 1v3 has downed Whitlock, and with Og on low HP, depending on how he plays this and, well, whether or not Dami fumbles, this isn't an unwinnable situation. It just would require a hell of a lot of luck. There is a Z-ping. He knows where... Oh, I was about to say knows where Og is, but he didn't even pre-fire. He just peeked a wall, and unfortunately was not able to flick down in time. Unlucky for him, and a close round for Arial, but still a round that will even at 4-4.
Did Og just, like, knife bait, but with bullets?
You know...
I think he did. Because I think that was a mind games. I don't know if I'm going to read too far into this, but typically when people rappel in, they shoot their gun to try to mask the sound. And I think that's what he did to just play on the head of, hey, I'm shooting, so that means I'm swinging in, and then just waited for the proper play for Arrow was to wait for the rappel in, because that's a very hard gunfight to win. If you're the one actually rappelling in, you're really vulnerable. But instead, he just swung into a player holding an angle. Maybe I'm reading too far into it, or maybe Og has a Gigamax brain. I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that was all according to plan. And I was going to say that the plan didn't go well for Honor and that they're going to switch up the bomb site, but they're going to bang their head against the wall and try to bounce back once again on Lobby Press.
In between learning the preamble to the Constitution and Magic Lens grammar, he came up with that play right there. He was sitting in class doing... I don't know. Wait, I don't know if Og's a freshman or in 8th grade. Either way, whatever they do in...
He's a youngin.
He's a youngin, but whatever class he was in, it is at max Algebra 1, so we're still talking about a young person here. He came up with that one off the dome.
I bet he doesn't even know who Aristotle is.
You know, it's a good question. I mean, it is spelled differently than Aristotle, so I'll give Og the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, he would just get confused on the spelling. He knows who's the greatest philosopher of all time, is there? I don't think he's the greatest philosopher, but people think that for some reason. I don't know. I'm still in intro to philosophy myself, so I won't pretend like I'm some expert on the subject. That aside, Honor will try lobby press room a second time, because it wasn't terribly against them. It wasn't bad, exactly. There were glimmers of hope. It was mainly just a lot of them getting taken down on the Roman. I was about to say, you know, just swinging angles, but then again, Wolvesies also swung main door and slammed Afer off the planet, so they have also shown that even if they take those gunfights they probably shouldn't take, it could work out. And with Oreo's positioning right here, the C4 right outside yellow doesn't look like people particularly know where he is. Him and also Wolvesies in this position as well, 2 power players that could make use of their positioning. And there you go. Oreo gets the opening pick onto Og.
And that's a yikes. That is a yikes for Og, who has been having a lot better of a half once he went to the attacking side. Falling on a long angle to an SMG-11 is just a absolute showing of Oreo's prowess on the supporting role so far. As now the first line scans are going out, it's making the sort of roamers that are all set upstairs for Honor feel a little bit more uncomfortable. But there's a lot of them, and their strengths in numbers so far, especially when Oreo can continue hitting shots like that onto Woods. who now falls and drops the diffuser on the top of the yellow stairs. Whitlock is on the rappel, but he just let Oreo escape. He's still going to be on top yellow, and he's going to start holding that diffuser with his life, playing till his death, and continually wasting the time of Arial Arise.
Yeah, Oreo holding this spot with... All right, never mind, my bad. I was about to say how strong it was, but Afer just pushed in, so... I apologize, Oreo, for that one. I was going to talk about how, you know, C4 shotgun could be huge, but no. There goes Afer, has diffuser back in the possession of the attacking team, and could also try to make a play to single-handedly take down, I believe that's Ariel and Surf up top. Either way, swiftly deal with the two roamers if he doesn't make them rotate back. And the latter scenario is exactly what happens. They know once a minute has passed, they're just going to rotate back to the site and hold it and wait for Arial Arise to push in. And so far, that strategy is working out perfectly. It's not the two I mentioned, but it is Pox with the Alda to see Whitlock try and sit behind those vending machines and get caught out on that rotation behind cover. Now, Dami will take the position held by his team, not managing to spot a lot. He will spot the backpack of Pox, unfortunately not able to be shot that backpack, so the Maestro can continue to sit in that position and continue to be a thought in the mind of the attacking team. A lot of shots missed, but the final ones hit. Dami retaking the fight up above. Good play by him in the final 30 seconds to take that Maestro down, who can be such a huge operator. But with Wolfsies down below, could play for the C4. Somebody either has to watch the angle or pray Wolfsies messes up his Nitro cell, and he will. It'll go wide, and now with Dami getting the plant down, Afer on the coverage, spots one, can't land the other. Dami will get it down successfully. Errol misses shots, have to reload the mag, and a lot of missed shots on the side of Dami. A potato at the exact wrong moment. Wolfsies comes away with it with the pistol to finish him off. Honor take the lead once again.
Really unfortunate. I thought there might have been a heroic play, but at the end of the day, Honor played it properly, swung in unison, and I don't care how good of a player you are, you can't shoot at two places at once. Really well timed from the two remaining players of Honor, and they take the round that they definitely deserve. Their top floor roam was absolutely lethal. There wasn't really anything that Arial Arise could do. Their momentum didn't come in till the backside of the round, where then Pox completely stopped the momentum because he realized, hey, we got a couple of picks upstairs and there isn't any window pressure. That means I can play behind the piano and definitely play on an off angle that nobody on Arial Arise expected him to be in. Got a frag and a lot of damage onto the other players. Sure, he got refragged from upstairs, but you know, once again, that just wasted away more and more time. The clock was about to hit triple zeros. Dami was forced to plant, and then everything just kind of fell apart at that end. And like you said, Honor retake the lead. Now they're going to be able to go back downstairs, a bomb site that they looked very, very good on for Arial Arise. Kind of floundered a bit. It was a 2v1 that Woods survived a lot longer than he probably should have and probably expected to. But there were still positives to be taken out of the round on both sides. For Arial Arise, they got rid of Wolfsies inside a bathroom relatively quickly. Their roam clear looked really sharp. But then the flanking happened. That's when Surf and Aristotle went kind of crazy. They started swinging everything. And because there's no Nomad and there's no traditional flank watch operators employed by Arial Arise, when you start to stall out like they did, that's when you're at your most vulnerable.
Yeah, even in the round they won on Lobby, where the roam from Honor was much less successful than it was previously, it still proved to be a burden on them, albeit much less than in the rounds Ariel have lost so far, being Basement and that second Lobby attack. Arrow, one of the roamers, will spot just an inch of Woods' arm and put a bullet all the way from console into it, but only a little bit of HP done to Woods. He'll mostly just be scared as opposed to really any physical damage sustained. But that roam is what I want to impart upon you and what you need to focus on, because that has been the biggest factor for Honor so far. In Ariel, again, aside from that Lobby attack, haven't shown any inclination to deal with it or deal with it properly. The second floor they did well, but that's not the most important part, at least for how Honor are playing this. It's Arrow and Surf and anybody on Honor who are sitting up top that are the biggest impact fraggers when they're allowed to be alive. And Ariel is letting them play with pretty much all the space they want.
Yeah, they have the potential to just push straight on in, and that's exactly what Afer did. Kind of weird to see he walked into sight and then was able to walk back out. That's actually a Nitro cell from above, I think. That's what did the damage, but it's even more lethal as Og will rip the head right off of Arrow. A really well-placed shot even though Arrow had the high ground, you know, it was over as soon as Og loaded into the server on this round. Woodlock on the bottom of yellow, they're starting to push onto site. They're bypassing the roamers. That's what Arial Rise is known for. They're definitely pretty comfortable in. And now Honored, that's going to force a lot of players to come back. All the roamers kind of mitigating their thing. And they just don't know that they're planting the bomb. Really kind of worrying for Honor, but you know, it's just frags back and forth as Whitlock and Afer both pick up a couple of kills. It's all up to Wolfsies essentially in a 1v5, and that's an absolute heater of a shot onto Dami. Oh my gosh, Wolfsies, but he still has to find 4 more. Oreo is not going to be salvageable. You know, he's going to wither away, slowly bleeding out on the floor, and now Wolfsies looks the wrong way. Whitlock will pick up his second kill, as he was the one that put Oreo into the DBNO state. And he also finished off the SAS brother-in-arms of Wolfsies, who was locking down bathroom and just kind of was sitting there in the stalls with everything around him on fire saying, yeah, this is fine.
Well, if you're just going to bypass the roam entirely and not clear out Arrow and Surf, that is certainly the way to do it. It does help that Honor just didn't know the plant was going down. It's not even like it was being put in an off spot, or Woods was planning it in an off spot. He was just planning it behind White Van, where it always gets put down. And Honor just didn't know. They didn't know what was happening. So thankfully, that mistake being made by Honor allowed Arial's strategy, which has seen middling success so far, to bring them the most dominant round we have seen so far coming out from them. Only one player died that entire time. And even Og, who probably should have died in that engagement with Wolfsies, or with Arrow, sorry, somehow came out on top. So a lot of things going Arial's way that probably shouldn't have.
Do you see what I see, Carter?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
I haven't seen CEO in so long.
I'm getting Project Neo vibes right now.
This is a Mr. B type beat. This is a Mr. B shield.
I was gonna say, okay, let's not.
But instead, it's
okay.
Pox on the shield. He's the Mr. B shield. He can move.
You don't need to disparage this strat with the Mr. B shield.
In oil pit? That's a beautiful shield. It works.
This is not the oil pit. Shut up. This is not the oil pit shield. Will you shut up, man?
Hey, that shield has an 100% win rate.
Shut up, man. Just stop.
The stats don't lie. But for Honor, they are switching it up and going to a site that has definitely fallen out of favor in Consulate. Most teams, you know, about 6 months ago, CEO was like the site on Consulate. Everybody felt so good on it. But then something just happened and teams figured out, hey, Windows and upside down repels are so strong. Let's just absolutely destroy this bomb site and make it nearly impossible to play. So much so that most players and teams don't like it anymore. And I think I know what's about to happen here, and I'm kind of worried for the sake of Wolfsies that they're going to just dump a bunch of flashbangs and then follow it with a grenade and kill him. Is he about to die?
No, he's good.
Oh, so close to a Jaeger himself level clip, but Wolfsies did escape with his life, but unfortunately, not for long, as Afer's going to follow up all that utility with bullets, swing up on top yellow, and pick up 2 kills for free.
Arrow's also going to hit a nice shot on Adami up above, brazenly peeking the skylight and coming away with that. Still, a lot of the work done by Afer has not exactly been undone yet. He's, in the couple rounds that he's gotten the entry on yellow stairs, he has been the king of it. Now he's been spotted by Pox, just sitting in that corner. But again, thankfully, since he got those 2 kills onto yellow stairs, there's not much that Pox or anybody on the side of Honor can do to push him out of it. They can lay some shots over by him, and he is low, so a couple more pot shots would be the end of him. But now with Woods taking out Oreo, and just Pox and Arrow left, Clash and Castle, not exactly the best 2 in a 2v4, now that the former has fallen. It's all up to Arial with the UMP to try to make this work. Now he's been a pretty solid player. He hit a nice shot this round. You know, he'll at least hit one more onto Afer to knock him to the floor. With the plant going down, thanks to Woods, who can retreat onto a rappel or really any angle he wants to hold. Arrow has to clutch a post plant with a UMP now, which is only marginally worse than the situation he was in when the bomb was not down. He'll make a stake on yellow stairs and won't even see Whitlock before he puts a bullet in his brain. Arial Rise, they're on match point now. 1 round till they end this 7-5, not even needing overtime.
And that right there is why we were kind of surprised to see the bomb site come out, because that's typically what rounds look like on CEO. Is as soon as one player falls, it's just dominoes. It's player after player, and it's just a chain reaction of of frags, typically going towards the attackers who really have the advantage on that bomb site in particular. As soon as you take control of either yellow stairs or admin, if you go from the complete opposite side, the post plant positions on either inside of theater or right behind that desk inside CEO, it's essentially irrecoverable. You're going to have players on rappel, you're going to have players holding all sorts of different angles, and there's just not a whole lot you can do. For Arrow, he was stuck between a rock and a hard place, and having the UMP of all weapons is probably the worst one I would have chosen. Maybe if he had a boss G for some reason was wanting the ACOG on the Vigil, you know, maybe that could have been worse, but really not a great position to be in. And accordingly, sure, he got 2 frags, but those are the only kills that his team was able to pick up. The yellow pressure was absolutely clean and surgical with the precision of, hey, we're going to burn in unison, throw a grenade, and then they won't expect Afer just sprinting up yellow after the grenade explodes, which I myself could see through walls and also did not expect. So no disrespect to Honor, Arial Arise just looked really great on that attack.
In terms of potentially the final attack of this match, the answer Honor bringing out to try and deal with it is Wolfsies on the Mira. And this is an adaptation I really like, in terms of, especially in terms of how they lost the round previous. They've already shown they don't want to bring the Maestro. They're not a fan of the Maestro on basement. They want to let the Malusi be the indicator and be the utility burn that Arial Rise have to deal with. Okay, for sure. But in the most recent history, you let Woods get the plant down for free because none of you were watching and none of you heard. Now they're like, to remedy that, let's just bring 2 Black Mirrors, have 1 or 2 guys sit behind them, and there is no way we don't at least try to deny the plan this time. And that, I definitely agree with, and I think is a really good adaptation overall. If you're not going to bring the Maestro, having that Mirror compound with the Malusis to try and deny a situation like that from happening, that's a really good move. And we've already seen what happens in rounds where Arial Arise aren't able to get the plant down. If they're focused on not just bypassing the entire roam, and you force them to deal with the roam clear and the site clear in a more traditional line-by-line manner, they really have struggled so far in this matchup. And if that's Honor's plan, I wouldn't be surprised if we see overtime.
Yeah, they're definitely shaping up to be a lot stronger of a defense as they, once again, showing that they're a very strong team and doing the adaptations that we love to see. Looking quite good in all. They're wasting away the time, but, you know, 5 players on site is still really difficult to deal with on either front. It's either going to be Arial Arise. Kind of, I feel like whoever gets the first pick in this round is going to take it.
I wouldn't be surprised either, usually, if just the way this has been going. We have seen a couple exceptions, but overall, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb to follow. Wolfsies might find himself the first pick, depending on how Whitlock moves, but no, dodges it, evades, and does some fancy footwork, albeit he might not have known what fate he could have potentially fallen to. Afer's also trying to deal with that Electric Claw, but I think it's been shot, not by him, but by someone. Damu, there we go. He's got the opening pick onto Surf. So, Connor, if your logic follows through, we should see Arial Arise close this out 7-5, but it's not out of their favors yet. 2 C4s are gone, but 3 toxic canisters on the side of Oreo. But now that Afer has found Arrow, it's a 3v5. If they don't play these Black Mirrors right, or use these toxic canisters, it could go wrong.
Yeah, they actually don't have any C4s left. Both Wolfseed and Pox took away their trump card in stopping the execute, which means only Oreo with those 3 toxic babe canisters will have any ability to stop Arial Arise from planting that diffuser and forcing a very dire post-plant situation. First toxic babe reigns true, and that's cutting off the sprint in, which means Wolf is going to have to get a little bit. And he had a glitched breach. That's really unfortunate. Now the E1D will rain out, and Honor, they're starting to feel a little bit of pressure. Arial Arise needs to do something, as now the smoke canisters of the attacking variety will block the vision of the Black Mirrors, and now it will be Og leaving Oreo in a body bag. But Oreo being able to pick up Woods, that's a diffuser down. Hawks trading bullets over towards top yellow. It's a 2v2 situation, but there's no time. Wolfsy's also able to pick up Whitlock, as I'm just fumbling over my words so bad. Wolfsy's goes for a triple, and I feel like I did a horrible injustice to that clip.
Yeah, Wolfsy's landing a triple there. That looked like an aerial around with how they were managed to cover it. Smoking off the Mira, holding the angle onto pipes that the defenders could have rotated to out of office. All of their bases were covered right there. And then they just lost. They lost that coverage, and all the angles they were holding crumbled. And then once the planter fell at that point, your coverage doesn't matter because the guy who's supposed to get you and elevate you into that round-winning position, not just a round-winning position, by the way, that'd be a retake that Honor would have had it done on basement, one of the most notorious sites that is hard for retakes to occur on the side of the defense. But if your coverage just isn't there and you get slammed on angles you shouldn't be getting slammed on, that's what happens. Now, there you go. Overtime is exactly what we need in the cards to figure out who's going to win this. Arial will start on the defense. They will go to basement. If you want to take a look in the past, how this has worked out, they won their basements both times they went to it. So starting out for Arial Arise, not a bad spot for where they could be.
You know, I was thinking about it. I don't want to say that Arial Arise lost that last round because of that breach, but I think they did. I really do think it was because of the glitch breach that they couldn't get in.
That wasn't great. That did not help them.
I'm gonna make the excuse and say that's what messed me up. You know, I was just so taken aback by this wonderful esports ready game that the breach was open but not open. Unfortunate for Woods, but at the end of the day, it's overtime. They are starting on the defensive where they can kind of take a step in the right direction, especially because of how good their basement, like you said, has been. It's been flawless. And Arrow's feeling the pressure of Afer, who's just kind of already spraying out. Every single good round he's had has been on the Wamai of basement. He's been pretty scary to say the least. He's hit multiple insane shots. But I have to also think that the last time Honor attacked this bomb site, that's when Woods hit that shot that he had no business winning. And that's 2 hero plays on basement that have went to the favor of Arial Rise. Can we expect to see a third?
I mean, it's happened twice now. You know, hot hands fallacy. Every time you make a shot in a basketball hoop, it decreases your perceived likelihood of you ever missing a shot. So you constantly think that you're going to make a shot if you're on a streak. I am kind of succumbing to it right now. I've seen Afer and Woods make hero plays twice on basement so far. One solely due to Afer, the other both Afer and Woods, though he almost did just... He basically almost got felled through a Metal Gear Solid play. Pox sitting inside of a bush, ghillie suit on, almost took out Afer. But either way, comes away alive, still a 5v5. I've seen them make hero plays so often that at this point, if Woods just somehow makes another miracle shot, I wouldn't be surprised. But then again, it is kind of risky that the 2 basement rounds you've won have been majorly due to Afer getting a lucky 2K and Woods clutching a 1v1 that honestly probably was won a little bit by the luck factor. So it's a minute 20 right now, minute 20 left. Honor have all the map control they need. They have up top. They might be able to get the breach open, though they are stalling a bit on that. Electric Claw disabled. Pox can open the wall. Now going into the final minute. It's going to be a 5v5. I think whoever gets the opening pick, that's probably going to be the one who wins the round, unless it goes horribly wrong.
Hey, we said that last time, and the attackers got it,
Yeah,
but it was
true.
the defenders taking it nonetheless. But a swing up yellow will be Woods picking up a kill onto Surf. Really great stuff. Using that shotgun in close proximity is where it can definitely shine. Now the vertical pressure over towards pipes is going to be probably the most important thing. If Wolfsies gets this kill onto Afer, that's going to be a lot of momentum swinging in and a lot of potential coverage of Arial Rise's defense towards stopping the execute. But it's going to be Whitlock, however, on the other side, taking out Oreo all the way outside the breach. Mira lost the 1.5, but you know, she's still a pretty strong operator if in her own regard. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock, and that's the magic number that tells Woods to start throwing those toxic babe canisters. The attackers of Honors are going to have to take a lot of damage to get in towards the breach, and Arrow trying to hold any rotations is going to get absolutely obliterated by Dami. What a shot all the way from downtown. They mean in a 2v5 situation where Wolfsies and Pox are locked out of heaven. There's no way for them to get into sight. They just have to walk in towards a doorway. Og is going to pick up a kill onto Pox, and the refrag coming out of Wolfsies will only be met by Afer finally getting the last laugh and getting another round into the favor of Arial Rise.
Woods is making a very salient point in chat right now. He said, the F you doing, Sledge, get the Mira. Haha, you know, talking in chat, trash talking, funny. That's actually a really good point. Because once again, 3rd time in a row, beside the hero plays made by Woods and Afer, the 2nd biggest factor for Arial Rise coming away on their defensive halves were the Miras they set up. And if not the Miras, having the ability to waste time just by sitting on the site and contesting angles that is hard for the attacking team to counter. Now with that Mira in play, who takes that factor and dials it up to 11, we saw Honor succumb to the same thing they succumbed to previously on these basement bomb sites. They got third floor. They got second floor. They even got breach outside of garage. And at that point, they saw the Miras, they saw the utility on site, and they saw the defenders holding their respective angles, and they didn't know what to do, and they weren't sure how to clear them. That, in big part, falls on the sledge. Like Woods pointed out, not getting those Miras, not using his frag grenades as adequately as he should have, and just overall, on Honor, not utilizing the vertical play as well as they should have. That is a big reason, probably the biggest reason why they won that round, because if you take a look on the replay, I didn't see that many hero plays. I just saw good strats winning the day.
See, what it came down to is the sledge got tunnel visioned. He was just staring at the shield of Pillar for so long. And that's just so unfortunate for Wolvesies. You know, being tunnel vision just wasted so much time. And especially on a bomb site such as basement, when you did a full top-down roam clear, you're going to be cramped for time. And they stalled a little bit getting the Electro Claw gone as well. Even though they had a Thatcher, it took them way too long to get the breach open. But that's neither here nor there. Let's leave that last round and a half, or else I'm going to go on a completely other tangent. Let's say Arial Rise on series point. They're going to be attacking the basement. You know, they had a split record on this. 1 win, 1 loss for both sides, you know. Looking quite good. It's a coin toss. It's a complete flip for if Honor will be successful on their defense, or if they're going to be successful in the attack for Arial Rise. Well, we will need no more rounds. Hopefully for Arial Rise, the breach will actually open. But, you know, maybe that's too much to ask for. I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath.
That really did screw the round over for him, didn't it? Like, in all seriousness, that was the factor that made them lose. Also,
because he was getting hit with gas while he was outside the breach.
That's just one of those moments where, again, we used this quote already, but to use it again, as Gasher once said, the game just says no. And that was an example of it saying no. Dalmy's also on Blackbeard, by the way. That's it. That's the tweet. He's just on Blackbeard. Not entirely sure why. Maybe, you know, Lion wasn't doing it for him. Now he just wants the extra headshot protection. Understandable. Already lost one, so he's back on his final shield before he has to play the game like everyone else has to, which is no face shield. And right now, Arial Rise are checking all the boxes they had previously. Managing to get open breach. Hopefully it's not screening them over this time. Whitlock getting the vertical destruction above. But same with Honor. It's coming down to that final minute, final 45 seconds. They so far seem to be using their utility pretty well. Do have that deployable shield on pipes, and if that remains alive, that could be a big problem for the attacking team to just let a Maestro with an Alda sit behind there. With the Malusis, and actually I believe one, at the very least one Evil Eye still alive. This is getting into a bit of risky territory. You're now relying on Whitlock to use his frag grenades to destroy it. Og no longer has impact lifelines, only concussives in his pocket. The longer that all that utility remains up, especially that Malusi on the front of White Van, if they try and make the push and plant behind White Van, this is going to be a tough spot for Arial Rise. But with Afer getting the opening pick, it might have created just enough room to maneuver.
That's another frag grenade going, making sure that Wolvesies has to fall off of pipes. But Surfy, I said Surfy, but Surf on the other side, Dami will get that frag. Og on the other side getting refragged out by Arrow. And it's pistol in hand trying to bear the brunt of the entirety of the Arial Rise attackers. Now Dami falls at the hands of Oreo. And it's a 3v3 as the smoke settles. And surprise, surprise, it's a retake. For the side of Honor, this is not a position that you want to be in. Arrow barely any HP, only about 50% for Oreo. Make that none as Afer's going to drop him down. The attempted flank not working out. And now it's a crossfire of all different degrees. Whitlock dropping down Oreo. And it's just Wolvesies in a 1v3. That's why Consulate is such a difficult map to defend. As soon as the bomb goes down, there's nothing you can do. Honor will fall at the hands of Arial Rise, who take 2 rounds in overtime in a row, lock it up, and are trying their best to essentially secure their way into SCS Season 5.
And what do you know? That final basement attack came down to Woods, albeit not nearly in the same fashion as they did previously. It was much more chaotic and hectic towards the end than their previous basement win. But it came down once again to Woods semi-stealthing in and getting the bomb down without anybody on the defense being in a position to take recourse. Whereas previously, it was more so them lacking the knowledge. At the end, even if they lacked the knowledge, it was more so they were preoccupied with members of Arial Rise actively taking gunfights and applying pressure on the side of the defense for them to not be in a position to counter Woods once he's in the bomb down, gun on the floor, not in a position to shoot back. So good play from Arial Rise. overall in those basement attacks, making good use of, even if there's some utility up, sneaking and weaving a path through the utility to get the bomb down. And overall, it was really close. And there were times where Arial Arise definitely looked weaker than they have previously. Not at all the same team on Consulate that they once were, but they still showed a lot of good play overall against a pretty high caliber team nonetheless. And overall, I'm happy with the way they performed. Honor as well. They also had a really hard fight overall through that whole map.
Yeah, absolutely great game. That's why we called it a barn burner. I mean, it went to overtime. It was back and forth, back and forth. And for Arial Rise's final round, you know, the breach opened, so that's good. And that's why they won. The breach opened. You know, they didn't get screwed over once again. They were finally able to go forward. But I don't know if we quite have the results from SFCL as well as 9-ball. I'm gonna slowly pan over to the tournament page and see if anything has been updated.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Do you have some updates? We have a few updates. Wichita Wolves versus these were just some of the games we mentioned earlier, games that were huge. Project Neo versus Wichita Wolves. Project Neo suffered their first loss to Wichita, or first loss, I should say, in this whole qualifier so far, but Wichita and Project Neo have both already qualified, so not the biggest deal on the planet. It was 7-4 in the favor of Wichita, but again, not the craziest thing in the world. Survey Corps versus Didn't Ask. Survey Corps managed to win that one out 8-6. So Survey Corps, remember, they were the team that we streamed on this channel first, and a team where if they lose, they did look good, but if they lose one more game, or if they lost one more game, their chances in this qualifier were pretty much done. So their chances are still alive. That's, if you don't recall, that's Lava, Act, Rift, and I almost said Splek, but that's CGG. What am I saying? I forgot his name. I keep wanting to say Spleef. Spiff. That's what it is. Listen, you can't blame that on me.
No, man. That's a random arrangement of letters that somebody in like 4th grade was like, exactly. Oh, that sounds cool. But you know,
like, I'm not taking the blame for that one.
Spiff is a lot better at the game than me, so you know, we'll let him have it.
Also true. Yeah. Also true.
But you know, the biggest surprise for me, Matt Squared, my collegiate boys. I know you're not as big of a fan of collegiate as I am, but you know, 7-1 gatekeepers. They 7-1 gatekeepers.
That's true. That is true. I mean, it is helpful when you don't have to think about drones. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, good job to Matt Squared. Gatekeepers, a very strong team. I believe Gatekeepers. What are their standings now? Let me check. Let's go to the actual standings themselves.
Let's go to
my Google Chrome would load.
Matches.
Gatekeepers right now are 14th. They are 5 and wait, nope, not 5. Yeah, no, 5 and 3. So still in a bit of a rough spot right now. Gatekeepers actually not nearly as strong as I think a lot of us anticipated with that record, 5 and 3. Also kind of in that position where if they lose one more game, they might be out of the, actually I think they will be out of the running to qualify. So they're going to be one of those teams where they win this next one. I mean, there obviously is still another open qualifier, so it's not like their chances are completely dashed. But as for this qualifier itself, they need to win one more game, and if they don't, they're done. And I think that was one of the people that wasn't just a favorite to make it into the league, but to be in that top contender spot with the likes of Project Neo, Wichita Wolves, Honor, Arial Arise. Those teams, Gatekeepers not being up there, that'd be a bit of a shock too. I think all of us.
Yeah, I mean, everybody saw them in NSG just slam everybody. That's back-to-back monthly wins for them as they... Yeah, they're a good team, but you know they have the qual shakes. They have what usually happens to Project Neo. If
not
you know
any,
not this time.
Not this time.
They're a whole new team. They're feeling comfortable.
JJ ate his Wheaties. He was, he was. Did I say AJ or JJ?
Yeah, I think you said JJ, and then I was about to say AJ. But you know,
see,
Spiker on the team.
AJ, and I got scared.
Yeah, but I mean, Adapt's bird, I guess, stopped screaming, so he could actually hear the game sound.
Maybe that's why. Even though Adapt was never on the team, Adapt's bird was just playing through their mic in every single qual, and that's why they just couldn't. You
heard that clip, right? That was so funny. That's why they had to tack rehost against Survey Corps.
I was getting flashbacks to when I first met Jazz and we were in a watch party, and all you could hear for half the game was just just his bird just being, no offense
annoying.
To Adam's bird, being very annoying and an awful thing to deal with. Love Adam's bird, but
it's gotten a lot better. He trained it.
It really has gotten a lot better, but it's also
You're about to get canceled by Harrison. Harrison is like the biggest bird person. You know, I swear as a child, he just watched the movie Rio over and over again on repeat. I just imagine him like watching that 37 times in a row. Being like, mom, 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 dad, 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 play it again, play it again. So he's like sitting there rocking back and forth with like a bird on his hand. Just do it again.
Hey, listen, everyone teach their own, and we'll just...
Real was a banging movie.
Well, I'll be honest, never seen it. But I do believe we are going to be going to a quick break, you know, letting all the rest of the matchups finish. Shouldn't be nearly as long of a break as the previous one because we were one of the first matches done last time, whereas this time I believe we are some of the last matches done. Yep, waiting on 2 games right now. Down Bad versus HZT and Aquatic versus Sleeping Giants. Once those two are wrapped up, which should be pretty soon, we're going to have another game up on the SCS main channel and be the last one for the first open qualifier for SCS. But don't go anywhere. We're going to bring you a good one. Stay tuned.